Thank you that we can gather here together.
Ďakujeme, že sme sa mohli stretnúť.
Thank you for the blessing to study together.
Ďakujeme, že môžeme spolu študovať.
Please give us your Holy Spirit.
Prosíme, daj nám Tvojho Svätého Ducha.
And help us that we can learn these things.
A pomôž nám, aby sme sa vedeli to naučiť.
In Jesus' name I pray.
Ďakujeme Ti za to v mene Ježiša. Amen.
I want to do a correction.
Chcela by som tu spraviť jednu opravu.
Because as you, I'm a student.
Tak ako vy, a ja sa iba učím.
I also learn. I think the principle still stands.
Ten princíp ostáva rovnaký.
But the midnight cry pattern.
Ale vzorec polnočného volania
starts actually here, not here.
Začína tu, nie tu.
So I'm taking this red one away till here.
Takže to tu dám preč.
Okay. So that's the correction.
Tak to je tá oprava.
Midnight cry pattern starts with Boston, Concord, Exeter, and then the test.
Polnočné volanie začína pri Boston, potom rastie Concord, Exeter a potom je skúška.
And we did that in the break.
To sme urobili cez prestávku, bola otázka.
For the priestess would be 2014 Boston.
Pre kňazov by to bol Boston 2014.
Concord is 2016.
Concord 2016.
Exeter is 18.
Exeter 18.
Our test is 19.
A skúška je 19.
We will deal with that more later in the week.
Ešte budem o tom hovoriť cez týždeň.
Because we'll eventually get there.
Prídeme k tomu.
It's the first time I'm actually teaching about methodology.
Toto je prvýkrát, že ja vyučujem metodológiu.
Because I also have a lot of questions of how does our methodology work.
Tiež mám veľa otáziek o tom, ako funguje naša metodológia.
So I apologize if things are not as straightforward in the first place.
Takže sa ospravedlňujem, ak tie veci nie sú také jasné hneď na prvýkrát.
Because I'm learning myself.
Ja sama sa len učím.
If you have questions,
ak máte otázky,
generally about anything, just come and ask.
Prosím, pýtajte sa.
You know, it's rare that people can come here.
Je to dosť rare.
Yes. It's not that often that we can have camp meetings.
Nemôžeme prísť sem veľmi často.
Or that everyone is able to go to a camp meeting.
Alebo že každý by mohol prísť na stretnutie.
So the time we have together is precious.
Takže ten čas, ktorý máme spoločne, je veľmi vzácny.
So if you have questions or you want to know things, just come and ask.
Ak máte otázky alebo chcete niečo vedieť, prosím vás, pýtajte sa.
Just so we use that time fully.
Aby sme ten čas plne využili.
So I want to encourage everyone to ask their questions.
Takže k tomuto vás chcem povzbudiť.
Okay, so coming back to our topic of methodology.
Keď prídeme naspäť k tej téme o metodológii,
we have two witnesses.
Máme dvoch svedkov.
Proverbs as well as William Miller's Second Dream.
Príslovia a tiež sen Williama Millera.
That rules to study the Bible are essential.
Pravidlá na študovanie Biblie sú potrebné.
They're very important.
Veľmi dôležité.
So for us it should be it should be a priority of us to get to know our rules we're having.
Pre nás by to mala byť priorita, aby sme rozumeli tým pravidlám, ktoré máme.
So we're heading this way.
A týmto smerom pôjdeme.
The first thing we wanted to cover though is why are we actually using lines?
Prvú vec, ktorú sme chceli sa ňou to pokryť, je, že prečo používame línie.
Why do we draw lines on the whiteboard?
Prečo robíme veci na líniách?
And we covered that in the last presentation.
To sme urobili v poslednej prezentácii.
These lines show how the prophecy is being fulfilled in history.
Tieto línie ukazujú, ako proroctva naplnené v dejinách.
So we see here a fulfillment of prophecy.
Sú vlastne naplnením proroctva.
And it's a visual representation.
A sú takým vizuálnym obrazom alebo reprezentáciou.
And the line actually shows us also how close we are to the end.
A tá línia nám ukazuje, ako blízko sme ku koncu.
So then we said that our methodology today.
Potom sme povedali, že tá naša metodológia dnes
is what?
Je čo?
Let me ask a different question.
Inak sa spýtam.
What was the methodology of William Miller?
Aký bol spôsob štúdia Williama Millera?
What was essential to the Millerites?
Čo potrebovali Milleriti?
What principle?
Aký princíp?
Deň za rok.
A day for a year?
The day for a year.
Deň za rok.
What is the principle which is so essential for us today?
Aký je princíp, ktorý je pre nás taký strašne dôležitý? Line upon line.
Line upon line.
Línia na líniu.
In different words.
Inými slovami,
I think we did that last time I was here.
Myslím, že sme to urobili aj minulé, keď som tu bola.
Just to demonstrate the point.
Aby som ukázala tú pointu.
When was the formalization of the message in Millerite history?
Kedy bolo formovanie posolstva v dejinách Milleritov?
Of 1798,
1798,
increase of knowledge,
rast poznania,
and then we have here the angel coming down.
a potom máme anjela, ktorý prichádza,
This is 1840.
1840,
This is 1816
1860,
to 18. This is when
teda
William Miller studies.
16 až 18, vtedy William Miller študuje.
When was the message formalized?
Kedy bolo sformované posolstvo?
Remember.
33.
1833.
1833.
So we also have the stars falling here.
Tam padali aj tie hviezdy.
Okay, so here the principle is being put in place.
Takže tu je vlastne daný ten
The
princíp.
message of William Miller.
Posolstvo Williama Millera.
Find on this chart.
To nachádzame na tejto tabulke.
Everything stands and falls with the year for day principle.
Všetko stojí a všetko by na tom spadlo na tom dni za rok.
When does this principle get confirmed?
Kedy tento princíp bol potvrdený?
When is it being confirmed?
1840.
1840.
1840.
1840.
So here the principle is being confirmed that a year day, that principle is correct.
Tu je potvrdený ten princíp, že deň za rok je správny alebo pravdivý.
So I'm suggesting in our time period,
Takže ja dávam návrh, že v našom čase
also at our formalization,
a v čase nášho formovania
our principle is being put in place,
náš princíp, ktorý je daný,
which needs to be confirmed.
je princíp a musí byť potvrdený.
It would be confirmed in 9/11.
A ten bol potvrdený pri 9.11.
So what's the principle being established in our time period?
Aký je princíp, ktorý bol ustanovený v našom čase?
What happens to history?
Čo sa deje dejinám? Čo sa s nimi robí?
Opakujú sa.
They repeat.
History will repeat.
Dejiny sa opakujú.
This is being said here.
Takže toto sa hovorí tu.
But 9/11,
9.11,
this principle that history repeats,
toto, že dejiny sa opakujú,
we can also call it line upon line,
môžeme to nazvať línia na líniu.
is established.
Tento princíp je ustanovený.
Because we have a study where we see how these parallel each other.
Máme štúdiu,
9/11.
kde vidíme, že tieto dve sú v paralele, 1840 a 9.11.
Also these two are repetition of history.
Takisto tieto dve, to je opakovanie dejín.
Just two simple thoughts.
Dve jednoduché myšlienky.
So we see here our method is line upon line.
Vidíme tu, že naša metóda je línia na líniu.
That history will repeat.
Dejiny sa budú opakovať.
A quick side thought.
Ešte taká rýchla myšlienka odbočka.
What test was that? Which number?
Aká toto bola skúška? Číslo skúšky.
How many tests are there?
Koľko máme skúšok?
3, right?
3.
Which one was this one?
Toto bola ktorá?
That's the first one.
To bola prvá
We
skúška.
always say here the test begins
Povieme, tu začína skúška.
when the message is being confirmed.
Keď je potvrdené posolstvo.
So after the first comes the second, right?
Po prvej prichádza druhá však.
And what do we say often is the second test?
Čo hovoríme, že je druhá skúška?
What is a characteristic of the test?
Aké sú vlastnosti tej skúšky?
Tabulka dva.
Je to viditeľné.
Áno,
You can see it.
It's visual.
Je to viditeľné.
And I suggest that we can do a study
Môžeme urobiť štúdiu,
to demonstrate the logic
aby sme ukázali túto logiku.
that after 1840, when the message went with power to the Protestants,
A po 1840, keď to posolstvo išlo s mocou k protestantom,
what tested them visually?
čo ich vizuálne preskúšalo?
Tabulka.
The chart.
Tabulky.
This chart.
Táto tabulka
The
teda.
1843 chart.
Tabulka 1863,
Did they pass that test?
43. Prešli tou skúškou? Millerites or
Yes.
Protestants?
I'm talking about the Protestants here.
Protestants didn't.
They didn't.
Neprešli.
So let's draw the parallel.
Urobme paralelu.
So we're giving the message to whom?
Dávame podobenstvo komu?
The Seventh-day Adventist
Pardon.
Church.
Dávame posolstvo komu?
So they also will have to see something visually. don't they?
Adventistom. Aj oni musia vidieť niečo vizuálne.
And I'm only making here an application. I'm not going to go deeper into it.
Ja robím len aplikáciu, toto nejdem nejak hlboko do toho.
But I suggested that these lines are what?
A tieto línie sú čo? Visual test.
It's a visual representation of our message.
Je to viditeľná reprezentácia nášho posolstva.
Just what the Millerites did back then, putting things on a chart,
Tak ako Milleriti predtým dávali veci na tabulky,
we constantly put on a whiteboard.
my ich dávame na tabulu.
And these lines are testing every one of us.
A tieto linie skúšajú každého jedného z nás.
And people fail or they pass.
Ľudia na tom padajú alebo idú ďalej.
So that's for me another importance why we need to draw lines when we study.
Pre mňa toto je ďalšia dôležitosť toho, že prečo musíme kresliť línie, keď študujeme.
Okay? So coming back to our
Keď
methodology,
prídeme naspäť k našej metodológii,
we said the most difficult thing is to know when to cut our line.
povedali sme, že najťažšia vec je vedieť, kedy máme prerezať tú líniu.
Because our methodology is line upon line.
Pretože naša metodológia je línia na líniu.
So that means there's one line we have from the very past to the future
Takže jednu líniu, ktorú máme od minulosti po budúcnosť
needs to be cut.
a musíme ju rozkrojiť.
So we said we can draw a line or we can see this as to be a chain.
Môžeme urobiť líniu alebo môžeme to vidieť ako reťaz.
We need to cut it, that's the most difficult task.
A najťažšia úloha je, že kde to rozdeliť.
My suggestion is that we always need to find when the story ends, then we can cut.
Keď ten príbeh skončí, tam to môžeme rozkrojiť.
I hope that was sort of clear.
Dúfam, že to bolo jasné.
So I want to go back to this model here,
Chcem ísť naspäť do tohto modelu,
where we said that all the prophets speak for the end of the world,
kde sme povedali, že všetci proroci hovoria o konci sveta.
and we take that principle and apply it to us,
A vezmeme tento princíp a aplikujeme ho na nás.
the 144,000.
Na 144 000.
Meaning all the stories in the Bible are types,
Že všetky príbehy v Biblii sú obrazom, predobrazom,
they're examples to us.
sú príkladom pre nás.
They teach us about our time.
Hovoria nás o našom, učia nás o našom čase.
So let's take some examples.
Zoberme nejaké príklady.
Let's take, for example, Moses,
Zoberme napríklad Mojžiša,
Jeremiah,
Jeremiáša,
and let's take John.
Jan.
Okay. So we did that a little bit last time here.
Trošku sme to urobili minule.
When I want to bring Moses and Jeremiah and John the Baptist into our time, what do I have to do first?
Keď chcem priniesť Mojžiša, Jeremiáša, Jana do našej doby, čo musím urobiť ako prvé? Check the time they lived in.
The time they lived in.
Porozumieť času, v ktorom žili oni.
So remember, if you want to understand how prophecy is fulfilled today,
Pamätajte, ak chcete rozumieť tomu, ako je proroctvo naplnené dnes,
I suggested that we first need to understand the prophecies themselves.
musíme najprv rozumieť tým proroctvám samotným.
The parables, the stories.
Podobenstvám, príbehom.
We look at history
Pozrieme na dejiny
and we see how they are fulfilled.
a vidíme, ako je naplnená, ako sú naplnené.
And I suggest bringing the stories into our time period.
Priniesť príbehy do nášho času.
We also have to factor in certain things.
Tiež musíme určité veci zahrnúť do toho.
One of them is
Jedna z nich je,
that when Moses wrote, or let's take Jeremiah because I like that example. When Jeremiah spoke about Babylon coming,
keď Jeremiáš hovoril o tom, že prichádza Babylon,
did he speak for us today?
hovoril pre nás dnes,
4,000 years later.
pred 4000 rokmi,
3,000 years later.
pardon, not in his mind.
No, Jeremiah was there and
Jeremiáš
knew
bol
Babylon
tam
was coming.
a vedel, že naozaj prichádza Babylon.
So Jeremiah was speaking and writing not for us here at the end of the world, but for his own time.
Jeremiáš písal pre tých ľudí, nie pre nás.
So, but the reason we take this story now and use it spiritually
Dôvod, prečo my teraz berieme tento príbeh a používame ho duchovne
and say because history will repeat,
a povieme, že kvôli tomu, že sa opakujú dejiny,
this history of Jeremiah is not old news.
tieto dejiny Jeremiáša to nie sú nejaké staré zaprašené správy,
It's present truth.
ale je to prítomná pravda.
Let's establish that with a Bible verse.
Poďme pozrieť do biblického verša.
And I think we find that in Ecclesiastes.
Myslím, že je to v kazateľovi.
Ecclesiastes verses 1, verses 9 to 10.
Kazateľ 1, 9, 10.
Prediger 1, Verse 9 und 10.
Čo bolo, to i bude. A čo sa dialo, to sa i bude diať. Ani nie je to ničoho nového pod slnkom. Ak je nejaká vec, o ktorej niekto povie, pozri, toto je nové, už to bolo dávno za vekov, ktoré boli pred nami.
So what does Solomon say here?
Čo tu hovorí Šalamún?
Nic nového sa nedieje.
There's nothing new.
There's nothing new under the sun.
Že pod slnkom nie je nič nového.
Everything that was will be,
Všetko, čo bolo, aj bude.
and that what will be in the future already was once.
A to, čo bolo v budúcnosti, to už raz bolo.
And this is our security,
Toto je naša istota,
our insurance.
naše poistenie.
This is why we can stand up so boldly today
Preto sa môžeme s takou odvahou dneska postaviť
and make certain statements.
a povedať určité veci.
And people think we're crazy.
A ľudia si myslia, že sme blázni.
But because of this principle that history will repeat,
Ale kvôli tomuto princípu, že dejiny sa opakujú,
the only thing we need to know is history.
jediné, čo potrebujeme vedieť, sú dejiny.
We need to know the past
Potrebujeme poznať tú minulosť,
in order to know the future.
aby sme poznali budúcnosť.
And even worldly leaders acknowledge that.
Dokonca aj vodcovia vo svete toto chápu.
You'll hear saying like, you don't know where you're going if you don't know where you're coming from.
Sú také výroky, neviete, kam idete, ak neviete, odkiaľ ste prišli.
I'm not sure if you have that saying in Czech or Slovak language.
Máte nejaké takéto metafory u vás?
But often famous people say something
No,
like
but
that.
we have a saying, and we say history repeats.
Oh, you have a saying like that?
Mhm.
Okay, so the world even acknowledges that.
Aj svet tieto veci vidí.
That is our insurance.
To je naša istota.
Because we know the past,
Pretože poznáme minulosť,
we see the patterns,
vidíme tie vzorce,
we can predict the future.
môžeme predpovedať budúcnosť.
And Brother Philip from Romania,
Brat
maybe
Filip
a
z
lot of you have
Rumunska,
met him now.
už ste ho stretli,
He did a nice study,
urobil takú peknú štúdiu,
and I think you translated it in Locum, Germany.
myslím, že ty si to prekladal v Nemecku,
It was about why are we predicting time.
a bolo to o tom, prečo predpovedáme čas.
And he suggested too, it's like having the weather forecast.
A on hovorí, že je to ako počasie, keď máme predpoveď počasia.
When you see how the weather was in the past,
Keď vidíme, aké počasie bolo v minulosti
and you see certain patterns,
a vidíme určité vzorce,
you can predict how the weather is tomorrow.
vieme, aké bude zajtra.
You even can predict sometimes a half a year ahead how the weather is going to be.
Niektoré veci vieme predpovedať aj pol roka dopredu.
And this is the same what we do with prophecy.
Toto isté robíme s proroctvom.
Because we see the past and we see the patterns,
Vidíme minulosť, vidíme tie vzorce tam,
we can predict the future.
môžeme predpovedať budúcnosť.
And that's our insurance why we can be so bold here at the end of the world making certain statements.
To je naša istota a odvaha o tom, že prečo môžeme sa takto postaviť s takým sebavedomím a povedať určité veci.
Statements like what is going on about November 9th.
Napríklad, čo sa deje okolo 9. novembra.
If you, just an example,
Ako príklad,
if you recall the study about 2019 and what would happen this year,
ak si spomeniete na štúdie o tom, čo sa stane v 2019,
there was 1 year,
bol jeden rok,
and I think it was in the 1960s.
myslím, že to bol 1960. roky.
Let me see, I'm going to pull up the picture where I have it. It was 1868.
Bolo to 1868.
1868
1968
connects 2019
spája 2019
through 151 years.
Skrze 151 rokov.
Does somebody remember what happens this year?
Pamätáte si niekto, čo sa stalo v tomto roku?
There's a
Revolution.
Yes, please.
Revolúcia?
No, the revolution is over.
Revolúcia už skončila.
The Civil War went till 1865.
Tá skončila v 65.
So after that, President Lincoln is being shot,
Potom bol prezident Lincoln zastrelený
and the next president takes over,
a ďalší prezident prišiel k moci.
and his name is Andrew Johnson.
Volal sa Andrew Johnson.
And Andrew Johnson, what happened in 1868 is that the people or the Congress tried to impeach him.
What is impeach? I hear you.
So impeachment is that you're starting an action trying to remove the president of the presidency.
And they try to impeach him. Toto je slovo, ktoré sa dosť často používa v prednáškach impeachment a je to vlastne proces na zosadenie prezidenta. A toto vlastne bolo v 68. roku, že bol pokus o zosadenie tohto prezidenta.
So 2018, when the study of 2019 came up,
V 2018, keď prišli tieto štúdie ohľadne 2019,
because of this year number we are very familiar with,
kvôli tomuto číslu, ktoré veľmi dobre poznáme,
this year was connected with this year.
tento rok bol spojený s týmto rokom.
And a suggestion was made that we will see the impeachment.
A bol návrh urobený, že my uvidíme pokus o zosadenie prezidenta.
Impeachment je obvinenie.
Obvinenie?
Okay. And spring this year, the House of Representatives started to talk about impeachment.
A na jar tohto roku vlastne ten zo snemovne, myslím,
But they actually never did it.
hovoril o tom obvinení, ale nikdy to neurobili.
But when you look at the news of last week,
Ale keď sa pozrieme
Last 2 weeks.
na správy za posledné 2 týždne,
they will move forward now trying to impeach Trump.
oni vlastne do toho idú, že pokúsia sa zosadiť Trumpa skrze nejaké obvinenie.
Something were predicted for 2019
V 2018 bolo niečo predpovedané
actually is coming to happening.
a sa to naozaj začína diať.
And we knew it a year
A
beforehand.
my sme to vedeli už rok predtým.
Why?
Prečo?
Because we just went back to history.
Lebo sme išli naspäť do dejín.
So this was just an example.
Toto bol len taký príklad.
History is repeating,
Dejiny sa opakujú
and because there's nothing new under the sun,
a pretože nie je nič nové pod slnkom,
we can predict the future.
môžeme predpovedať budúcnosť.
But in order to predict the future,
Na to, aby sme predpovedali budúcnosť,
we have to go to the past
musíme ísť do minulosti
and study and learn the past.
a študovať a naučiť sa tie minulosť.
So, coming back to this year,
Prichádzajúc naspäť k tomuto roku.
before we take Jeremiah and apply him here in our time,
Predtým, ako vezmeme Jeremiáša a aplikujeme ho tu,
we first have to understand the time and circumstances he lived in.
musíme najprv rozumieť času a okolnostiam, v ktorých žil.
We have to understand who was Jeremiah.
Musíme rozumieť, kto bol Jeremiáš.
We have to understand what was going on with Israel.
Čo sa dialo s Izraelom?
Why was Jeremiah saying that Babylon was coming?
Prečo Jeremiáš hovoril, že prichádza Babylon?
Who's actually Babylon?
A kto je vlastne Babylon?
All these things we have to first figure out.
Všetky tieto veci musíme najprv sami pochopiť.
So I suggest that we need to understand the entire history
My musíme rozumieť celým dejinám
of these various prophets.
týchto rôznych prorokov.
And when we understand the details in the history,
Keď rozumieme tým detailom v tých daných dejinách,
then we would take that history and apply it to our
potom
time.
môžeme ich aplikovať na náš čas.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
And of course, we have to take the entire circle.
A musíme zobrať celý ten krúžok.
Here I'm demonstrating by circle.
Tu na to ukazujem pomocou krúžku.
What I mean is we need to take the entire dispensation.
Musíme zobrať celú tú epochu.
What we often have done in the past and we're guilty of as a movement
To, čo sme v minulosti veľakrát urobili a sme za to vinní ako hnutie,
is that we take a single event of a dispensation
že sme zobrali nejakú jednu udalosť z niektorej epochy
and we would apply it in our time
a aplikovali sme ju v našom čase,
because it seemed to fit.
lebo vyzeralo, že to sedí.
But if we would have taken the entire link, the entire story,
Ale ak by sme zobrali celý ten príbeh,
we would have seen that the application in our time would have been different
videli by sme, že tá aplikácia v našej dobe by bola iná
as we had done before.
Ako predtým.
So this is something we need to be careful of, or what we are learning since 3 or 4 years more often.
Toto je niečo, čo sa za posledné 3-4 roky stále viac učíme.
I tried to demonstrate it already here. We'll do
Snažím
it
sa to tu
again.
ukázať.
If we have a story,
Ak máme príbeh,
let's see. We have a story,
poďme sa pozrieť.
and we have a pattern.
A máme vzorec.
This is one story, story A.
Toto je jeden príbeh
And story B is our application.
a toto je naša aplikácia.
This is our history.
Toto sú naše dejiny.
And we want to understand our history, right?
Chceme rozumieť našim dejinám.
But we want to take the past and understand our history.
Chceme zobrať minulosť a rozumieť našim dejinám.
What we often would have done
To, čo by sme často urobili,
is we take this waymark
je, že zoberieme tento milník
and say, oh, this is this.
a povieme, toto je toto,
and we do a single
a
application.
urobíme jednu aplikáciu.
And this is not correct.
Toto nie je správne.
What we need to do is,
To, čo musíme spraviť je,
we need to take an entire link.
že musíme zobrať celý ten článok.
We need to not take just one detail out of a story and apply it at the end of the world.
Nie iba jeden detail vyťahnuť, ale aplikovať ho na konci sveta.
We need to study the entire circle.
Musíme študovať celý ten krúžok.
And the story here,
Príbeh tu
we need to actually trace through the entire link,
musíme vystupovať cez celý ten článok.
like a thread.
Ako taká niť alebo príbeh.
The story starts,
Príbeh
it
začne,
continues,
pokračuje,
continues,
ďalej
and it ends.
a končí.
So instead of just taking one aspect and applying it here,
Miesto toho, aby sme zobrali len jeden aspekt a aplikovali ho tu,
we need to take the entire story and apply it.
musíme zobrať celý ten príbeh a aplikovať ho.
And put the entire thread through our history.
A dať celú tú niť cez naše dejiny.
And this is often the difficulty which we have not fully understood
A toto je zložitosť, ktorú sme plne nerozumeli,
and not fully practiced.
ani nepraktikovali.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
Because, for example, people now,
Napríklad ľudia
they're taking things like the story of Baal Peor,
berú príbeh z Baltóru
and they're saying, before God's people were entering into Canaan,
a hovoria, že predtým, ako Boží ľud vstúpil do Kanánu,
what happened?
čo sa stalo?
What was introduced into the camp?
Čo prišlo do toho tábora?
Zbora.
Sedition? No.
Sedition, yes. Pagan women.
Pohanské ženy.
Pagan women who would mingle with the holy men.
Pohanské ženy, ktoré sa zmiešali s tými Božími mužmi.
So let's say this is the story about Baal Peor.
Čiže povedzme, že toto je príbeh Baal Peoru.
What is being done, for example,
To, čo sa robí,
is to take one aspect of that story,
je zobrať jeden aspekt toho príbehu,
that women are introduced into the camp,
že ženy vojdu do tábora
and then you come to our time period,
a potom prídeme do nášho času,
and you want to apply it.
chceme to aplikovať.
It's that shortly before we go into Canaan,
Tesne predtým, ako ideme do Kanánu,
this movement going to Canaan,
toto hnutie ide do Kanánu,
like here,
ako tu,
women will be introduced into the camp.
Ženy vojdu do tábora.
And this is the women's ordination.
A toto je ordinácia žien.
Where's the mistake here?
Kde tu je chyba?
Because technically it sounds good,
Lebo technicky to znie správne.
but there's a mistake.
Je tu určitá chyba.
Can you find it?
Spiritual and
Before you answer, what did
Oh.
they say? That's okay.
tak čo tam vidíte, aký problém?
Because I know you're very ahead. What do you think?
Čo myslíte?
The women being
Jenny?
introduced in the camp here,
Ženy sú uvedené do tábora.
is that women's ordination here?
Je to ordinácia žien?
Jak jsi řekla, je to míchání duchovního a skutečného.
It's mixing of natural and spiritual.
What do the others say?
Čo hovoria iní?
Že nemůžeme vytáhnout jenom ten příchod těch žen, ale musíme se podívat na okolí, co se tam dělo a musí to souhlasit s tou naší dobou.
We cannot take only the women, but we have to look at the whole story and it has to fit in the whole context.
Yes. So both of you are 100% correct.
Obaja máte 100% pravdu.
The first mistake is we cannot just take a single thing of this story and apply it here.
Tá prvá vec je, že nemôžeme zobrať iba jednu vec z príbehu a aplikovať to sem.
Because when you just take a single waymark
Keď zoberiete jediný milník
and you want to apply it,
a chcete ho aplikovať,
it's much more difficult to find the accurate place for it.
je oveľa ťažšie nájsť pre ňoho správne miesto.
If you have an entire pattern
Ak máte celý ten vzorec
and you want to overlay it in our time,
a chcete ho preložiť cez našu dobu,
you have several waymarks where you can see, am I placing it correct or not?
máte niekoľko milníkov na to, aby ste videli, či to umiestňujete správne.
That's why we always take the context.
Preto vždy berieme ten kontext.
So that was the first mistake.
Toto bola prvá chyba.
You don't just take a single thing and you put it in our line.
Neberiete iba jednu vec a nedávate to do našej línie.
The second thing
Ďalšia vec
is that this is a violation of the rule of first the natural and then the spiritual.
je, že toto je vlastne porušenie toho pravidla, že najprv prirodzené, potom duchovné.
A woman here,
Žena tu,
a pagan woman,
to sú pohanské ženy,
and I'm drawing it now with the skirt just for the sake of drawing. So a woman here
Žena tu
is what here,
je tu čo?
in this line?
Církev.
Church.
A church. The
Církev.
woman literal here
Doslovná žena tu
needs to be applied spiritual here.
sa musí aplikovať duchovne tu.
And here a woman is a church,
Tu je žena církev,
not a literal woman.
nie doslovná žena.
Therefore,
Takže
this woman in Baal-peor
táto žena v Baal-peore,
cannot be woman's ordination in our time
to
period,
nemôže byť ordinácia žien v našej dobe.
but it's rather a church, a
Ale
pagan church, a false church,
skôr falošná pohanská církev.
or teachings of a false
Alebo
church.
učenie tej falošnej církvi.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
Here you can detect how people are misusing the rules.
Tuto môžeme vidieť, ako sú zneužívané tie pravidlá.
So sometimes people come to us with
Niekedy
questions
ľudia za nami prídu s otázkami
about our message,
o našom posolstve.
and we do not have an answer,
A my nevieme, nemáme odpoveď.
simply because we're learning ourselves a lot.
Aj my sa len učíme.
And sometimes it's very discouraging
Niekedy je to veľmi také zmalomyslňujúce,
to not be able to answer these questions people come to us.
keď my nie sme schopní odpovedať na tie otázky, ktoré nám ľudia dávajú.
But sometimes what helps, or I think what is quite powerful,
Ale niekedy to, čo pomáha, alebo čo ja si myslím, že má veľkú
is
moc,
that when people state something
je, že keď ľudia niečo povedia
and say what they think,
a povedia ten svoj názor alebo postoj,
that you prove them if they use the rules correctly.
my môžeme sa vlastne pozrieť na to, čo oni používajú tie pravidlá správne.
And in this incident about Baal-peor,
V tomto príbehu o Baal-peore
I personally do not know the entire line of Baal-peor,
ja osobne nerozumiem celému príbehu o Baal-peore,
but I know one thing.
ale viem jednu vec.
This person who is trying to literally apply a symbol here,
Tento človek, ktorý sa snaží doslovný symbol aplikovať sem,
let me restate that, a person who wants to literally apply a literal figure back here,
vlastne snaží sa ten doslovný symbol aplikovať doslovne.
because that was a literal woman,
Toto bola doslovná žena.
who wants to make it literally women here
A
again,
chce to robiť doslovne ženou tu znovu.
is violating the rule of first the natural and then the spiritual.
Vlastne ruší to pravidlo najprv prirodzené, potom duchovné.
And therefore it can't be right what that person is saying.
Takže to nemôže byť právne, čo hovorí.
So you might not have the answer of how the line of Baal-peor looks like,
Takže možno nemáte odpoveď na to, že ako vyzerá tá línia v Baal-peore,
but very quickly you can tell this person, I think you're wrong.
ale veľmi rýchlo môžete povedať, ale ja si myslím, že toto je nesprávne.
Why?
Prečo?
Because you're using the rules not correctly.
Pretože tie pravidlá používame správne.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
Sort of.
Máš otázku?
Okay. From that word here. Okay. So it's the same here again.
Tu je to isté znovu.
Moses, Jeremiah, John.
Mojžiš, Jeremiáš, Ján.
So we need to first understand their times,
Musíme najprv rozumieť ich času.
and then the stories of them, the patterns become symbols,
A potom tie príbehy sa stanú symbolmi.
which we are to decode here at the end of the
A
world.
tie musíme na konci sveta dekodovať.
Like a church, a woman is a church,
Ako napríklad, že žena je cirkev.
or a key is rules.
Alebo kľúč sú pravidlá.
Jewels are truths, all these things.
Poklady sú pravdy a tak ďalej.
So it's very easy with these. It seems very easy with these kind of prophets
Zdá sa to veľmi jednoduché s týmito prorokmi.
because they are. They've lived a long time ago.
Pretože žili dávno.
But what is with a prophet which was in more recent times?
Ale čo s takým prorokom, ktorý žil nedávno?
Who was the last prophet Adventism received?
Kto bol posledným prorokom, ktorý adventizmus dostal? Ktorého?
Ellen White. So Ellen White, along with all the others, she's an equal prophet.
Ellen Whiteová spolu s ostatnými je na rovnakej úrovni prorokom.
And I'm asking again,
Pýtam sa,
For whom did Ellen White write when she wrote those hundreds of pages, thousands of pages?
Pre koho písala Ellen Whiteová týchto stoviek stránok?
Did she write for us 200 years later?
Písala pre nás, čo sme o 200 rokov neskôr?
Pre tých ľudí z doba čísla,
For those in the time reading.
Yes, she wrote for her people in her time.
Písala pre tých ľudí v tom svojom čase.
So what do we need to do with her writings?
Čo musíme spraviť s jej písmami?
What we haven't done so far as Adventists.
Čo sme ako adventisti zatiaľ neurobili?
Brali ako podobenstvo.
Take it as a parable.
We need to take it as a parable.
Musíme to zobrať ako podobenstvo.
So we need to also understand her circumstances
Musíme rozumieť jej okolnostiam
and the time she was living in.
a čas, v ktorom žila,
What were the customs and traditions back then?
aké boli zvyky a tradície v tom čase,
Did I say circumstances? What are the circumstances?
aké sú okolnosti,
Why was she saying things she was saying?
prečo hovorila veci, ktoré hovorila.
And then when you understand that,
A keď rozumieme tomu,
we take those things and we put them as a parable in our time.
vezmeme tieto veci a zoberieme ich ako podobenstvo do našej doby.
And these are things why sometimes it seems like
A preto sa niekedy zdá,
the things we're doing today
že to, čo robíme dnes,
are contradicting what Ellen White said.
je proti tomu, čo hovorila Ellen Whiteová.
But this is exactly what every prophet had done before.
Ale toto musel spraviť každý prorok predtým.
Because when you take these parables
Keď zoberieme tieto podobenstva
of the past,
v minulosti,
you apply them to what?
aplikovali sme ich na čo?
Your time
Na náš čas
and your
a naše
circumstances.
okolnosti.
And your circumstances
A naše okolnosti
are different than the one from Moses,
sú iné ako tie, ktoré má Mojžiš,
Jeremiah,
Jeremiáš,
John,
Jan
and even from Ellen White.
a Ellen Whiteová.
For example,
Napríklad,
recently it has come up,
nedávno prišlo,
let me back up, in conservative circles within Adventism,
v tých konzervatívnych krúhoch adventizmu
people are convicted that women should wear skirts.
ľudia sú presvedčení, že ženy musia nosiť sukne.
Because the Bible says
Lebo Biblia hovorí,
that man should not wear women's clothes,
že žena nemá nosiť mužské oblečenie
and women should not wear men's clothes.
a muž ženské.
You can go to Paul and he says that.
Pavel to potvrdzuje.
And Paul is actually referencing Moses.
A on vlastne sa odvoláva na Mojžiša.
So it is custom that women are to wear skirts.
Takže je zvyk, že ženy majú nosiť sukne.
The Bible says it.
Biblia to hovorí.
Ellen White speaks about it.
Ellen Whiteová o tom hovorí.
She also says women should wear skirts and what length and
A
so
tiež
on.
píše o tom, aká by mala byť dĺžka tých sukní
Should wear dresses, excuse me.
a šejat.
So the thing is just,
Takže tá vec je,
if we would go to our toolbox
ak by sme mali ísť do tejto krabičky s nástrojmi
and we would go and understand what Moses meant when he said women should not wear men's clothes and men should not wear women's clothes,
a museli by sme vidieť, čo to znamená, keď to Mojžiš hovorí, že žena nemá nosiť mužské a naopak.
should we first understand our time or his time?
Mali by sme najprv porozumieť našej dobe alebo jeho dobe.
It's his time, right?
Najprv jeho dobe.
Because he wrote it.
On to písal.
So we need to understand him.
Tomu musíme rozumieť.
So when Moses wrote
Keď Mojžiš písal,
that men should not wear women's clothes and women not men's clothes,
že ženy nemajú nosiť mužské a muži ženské,
we should ask ourselves,
musíme sa spýtať,
what were people wearing back then?
čo vtedy ľudia nosili.
What were men and women wearing?
Čo muži a ženy nosili.
Sukne.
The women?
Ženy? Both.
Both.
Obaja nosili sukne.
Both parties were wearing dress.
Obidve časti nosili také šaty.
Or when we go even further back in Garden Eden,
Keď ideme do Edenu,
what's the difference in clothing between Adam and Eve?
aký bol rozdiel medzi oblečením Adamovým a Eviným?
No.
Žiaden.
Both were wearing a dress out of light.
Obaja nosili šaty out of
Light. Like light clothing. And White talks about they were wearing a cloth of light. A dress of light.
Obidva mali také zahodenie svetla alebo svetelné.
Okay. So we see in Garden Eden, as well as Moses,
Vidíme, že v Edene, takisto ako aj u Mojžiša,
dress was the way to dress. To wear a dress was the way to wear clothes.
Šaty boli vlastne takým zaodením, ktoré nosili ľudia.
So how come
Jak je to možné,
that at the end of the world,
že na konci sveta
men are allowed to wear pants?
môžu muži nosiť nohavice?
Because back then they were wearing dress.
Lebo predtým nosili šaty.
How come they can wear pants today?
Prečo dneska nosia nohavice?
And women have to wear skirts.
A ženy musia nosiť sukne.
This is a breaking of the rules.
To je porušenie toho pravidla.
We're not factoring in the time and circumstances when the prophet spoke.
My nepoužívame vlastne tie okolnosti a čas, v ktorom hovoril prorok.
It would have been Ellen White's job
Bola by to úloha Ellen Whiteovej.
to call men off that they would wear pants. It was Ellen White's job. She should have corrected men that they need to wear dress.
Ona mala opraviť mužov, aby nosili šaty.
Because dresses is the clothing God gave in Garden Eden.
Pretože to je to, čo Pán Boh dal v záhrade Eden.
But does Ellen White ever rebuke any man for wearing pants?
Ale niekedy hrešila mužov za to, že nosia nohavice?
No.
Nie.
Why?
Prečo?
What is her time and circumstances?
Aké sú jej okolnosti a čas?
Men already for many hundred years had accustomed to wear pants.
Už mnoho 100 rokov si muži zvykli na nosenie nohavíc.
By the way, when you trace down the history of pants,
keď pozeráme na dejiny nosenia nohavíc,
you come to the Empire of Greece.
Pochádza to z Grécka.
And in Greece there was a tribe which was riding horses much.
Tam bol kmeň, ktorý veľa jazdil na koňoch.
And because of efficiency and practicality,
a kvôli vlastne tej výhode a praktičnosti,
people invented pants.
Ľudia vymysleli nohavice,
so they could ride the horses better.
Aby mohli dobre jazdiť na koni.
So what is the original reason for pants?
Aký je pôvodný dôvod pre nohavice?
It's practicality.
Praktičnosť.
And back then in Greece,
a vtedy v Grécku,
it was actually both men and women starting to wear pants.
Aj ženy, aj muži nosili nohavice.
But through the Dark Ages,
ale skrze stredovek, and
women being more suppressed,
a utlačanie žien,
the custom came that women are to wear dress and skirt.
Prišiel zvyk, že ženy musia nosiť sukňu a šaty.
And men would wear pants.
A muži nohavice.
That's why Ellen White didn't rebuke the men.
Preto Ellen Whiteová nekarhala mužov.
It's her time and circumstances.
To je jej čas a okolnosti.
But Ellen White rebuked the women.
Ale ona karhala ženy.
Why did she rebuke the women?
Prečo ich karhala?
How would they dress?
Ako sa obliekali?
The skirts were heavy.
And long.
Long.
Boli dlhé a ťažké.
And tight.
A úzke.
And what was the result thereof?
A jaký bol toho následok?
Nemoci.
Sickness.
Ženy boli choré.
It was unhealthy.
Bolo to nezdravé.
It often was unmodest. We talked about it.
Častokrát to bolo aj necudné.
It was unpractical.
A nepraktické.
These are the three principles Ellen White constantly addresses when she talks about dress.
Toto sú tri princípy, o ktorých Ellen Whiteová stále hovorí, keď rozpráva o šatoch.
So it's modesty.
Takže je to cudnosť.
Set.
Ako pre... I think can
the second one is health.
Zdravie.
S.
Yes. Z.
And the third one is practicality.
A tretie je praktičnosť.
P.
Yes.
And the first one is modesty.
Skromnosť. S. Modesty, skromnosť.
And she suggested a new dress for women.
A ona navrhla nové šaty pre ženy.
Which went completely contrary.
Ktoré boli úplne proti.
To the culture back then.
Tej kultúre, ktorá vtedy bola.
Because women would wear corsets.
Ženy nosili vtedy korzety.
Fancy clothing.
A veľmi také noble oblečenie.
And her dress was very simple and plain.
A jej šaty boli veľmi jednoduché a také jednoduché, no.
And it was actually even considered quite short.
A dokonca boli považované za krátke.
But it checked all the three principles,
ale spĺňali všetky tri princípy.
while this dress didn't.
Ale tieto nie.
When we take,
Keď vezmeme
in our time period now,
v našom čase
Ellen White quotes,
citáty Ellen Whiteovej,
and she talks about women having to wear skirts,
a ona hovorí o ženách, ktoré majú nosiť sukne,
as we do in Seventh-day Adventist conservative circles.
tak ako v konzervatívnych adventných krúhoch to robíme.
Then you take these principles Ellen White talks about,
Vezmeme tieto princípy, o ktorých hovorí Ellen Whiteová,
which means the weight needs to come from the shoulders.
čiže má to byť zavesené na ramenách.
People need to wear dresses, not skirts.
Máme nosiť šaty, nie sukne.
It needs to be not showing the figure, meaning it needs to be very loose.
Musí to byť voľné, aby nebolo vidieť postavu.
And it needs to have a certain length.
A musí to mať určitú dĺžku.
There needs to be no pattern.
Nesmú tam byť nejaké vzorce na
And
tom.
it should be only dark colors.
Really?
Yes.
A mali by to byť také tmavé farby.
And only one color.
A jednofarebné.
So she said our clothes should have only one color.
Ona hovorí, že máme mať jednofarebné oblečenie.
Those are all things she is saying about women's dress.
Toto je všetko, čo ona hovorí o oblečení.
So she's saying all these things here,
Ona toto všetko rozpráva
and 160 years later,
a o 160 rokov neskôr
we as conservative Adventists want to do everything right.
my ako konzervatívni adventisti chceme robiť všetko správne.
And we're so conservative of what our women are wearing.
A sme tak konzervatívni v tom, čo majú ženy nosiť.
But if you take all of this,
Ale keď vezmeme toto všetko,
then you should take also all the other things.
potom by ste mali zobrať aj tie ďalšie veci.
Have you ever seen how men were walking around in that time period?
Videli ste, ako vyzerali muži v tom čase?
Let's see if I can find a picture.
Ak nájdem obrázok.
They had these weird hats on,
Mali tieto zvláštne klobuky,
often long beards,
dlhé brady
and funny clothing.
a smiešné oblečenie. These people look at me.
No,
No?
it's more.
OK.
The best example I like is Abraham Lincoln.
Najlepší príklad, ktorý mám rada, je Abraham Lincoln.
Let me see if I can find.
Pozriem sa, či ho nájdem.
But he's without a hat. Let me see. Let me see if I can find it. Here, I have one picture. This is how men used to walk around.
Takto vyzerali muži.
If conservative Adventism goes to such length and puts so much effort in that women today walk around like in Ellen White's time,
Keď konzervatívny adventizmus ide tak ďaleko, že vlastne chce, aby ženy chodili tak, ako v čase Ellen
they
Whiteovej,
should also put effort in that men look just the same way.
tak by mali sme dať všetko to úsilie do toho, aby muži tiež vyzerali rovnako ako vtedy.
And now it comes to the point where we say, how foolish are we?
A teraz prichádzame do bodu, kedy si uvedome, akí sme boli blázniví.
How foolish are we to try to bring the same circumstances of another time period in our own?
V tom, že sa snažíme priniesť okolnosti úplne inej doby do našej.
It's a parable.
Je to podobenstvo.
She's giving us the principles.
Ona nám dáva princípy.
Modest,
Skromnosť,
healthy,
zdravie,
and practical.
praktičnosť.
And shortly in the, 50s, 60s, 70s especially,
50., 60., 70. roky
we have the starting where women start to wear pants.
ženy začínajú nosiť nohavice.
What was the reason for them wearing pants?
Prečo ich nosili?
There's one, it's equality.
Jeden bol rovnosť.
But also in the First and Second World War, men were in the war.
Tiež v prvej, druhej svetovej vojne muži boli vo vojne.
And women were having to replace men in factories.
A ženy museli ich nahradiť v továrniach.
And they would wear pants because of practical and safety
A
reasons.
bolo to bezpečné a bolo to praktické nosiť nohavice.
And later on, it kept going and stayed the same and became more.
Neskôr sa to stalo viac ešte takým bežným.
Today, in our time,
V dnešnej dobe,
in our
v
circumstances,
našich okolnostiach,
it is absolutely normal for women to wear pants.
je to úplne normálne, aby žena nosila nohavice.
So why would it not be for us in God's church?
Tak prečo by to nemalo byť aj pre nás v Božej cirkvi?
If men do not have to wear dress like in Moses' time period,
Ak muži sa nemusia obliekať ako za Mojžiša,
or like in Garden Eden,
alebo vedene,
or have to walk around like in the 1860s or 50s,
alebo nemusia chodiť oblečení ako v 60. rokoch,
then women don't have to do the same thing.
tak ani ženy nie.
Women are perfectly fine to wear pants today,
Dnes je v poriadku pre ženy mať nohavice,
but under the same principles as always.
ale musia byť zachované tie princípy ako predtým.
And these principles are for men and women.
A tie sú aj pre mužov, aj pre ženy.
Modesty,
Skromnosť,
what did it say here?
health, zdravie,
And practicality.
praktičnosť.
So you see
Vidíme,
that if we apply our rules
že ak aplikujeme tie pravidlá,
and common or logic, logic,
logiku,
common sense,
zdravý rozum,
we had to realize that for 30 years we've been wrong.
museli sme si uvedomiť, že 30 rokov sme boli mimo.
Because till up recently we believed women should wear skirts.
Pretože až donedávna sme verili, že ženy by mali nosiť sukne.
But then somebody needs to explain to me
Ale niekto mi potom musí vysvetliť,
when Moses said men and women should not wear the same clothes,
keď Mojžiš hovorí, že žena a muž nemajú nosiť to isté oblečenie,
why back then were both wearing dress?
prečo obaja nosili šaty?
You cannot uphold the argument today that women are to wear skirts while men can wear pants.
My nemôžeme držať tento argument, akože udržať ho, že prečo ženy majú nosiť sukne a muži nohavice na základe tohto verša.
Understanding methodology,
Porozumenie metodológií
it made us change
spôsobilo, že sme sa zmenili.
because we understood better.
Lepšie sme to pochopili.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
Do people understand?
Rozumiete?
Yeah?
Can I ask?
Yeah.
So,
Historie.
but I understand, take it as a principle, there still should be seen a difference, like unisex clothes, we shouldn't wear unisex clothes, right?
Yeah, I mean, I don't see women wearing the same clothes, but what do you mean by same clothes?
Like there are clothes that can be worn by both
Mm-hmm.
men and women, and you don't really see the difference.
Well, you have this movement, for example, like skinny jeans,
Yeah.
which are so tight, and I don't think it's good for men to wear those, and not for women either.
Yeah.
So what is
I'm just saying that there still should, like the way we dress should still look feminine, right? Not just like.
I think we should dress what we think is implied by these principles. So I personally would not go to a men's section and go shopping there. I'm going to the women's section, and there's a difference. There's a difference between men's jeans and women's jeans, for example. So is that what you're talking about?
Maybe, I don't know. Okay, I just translated what I was saying. Ja som len hovorila, že ale stále vlastne by mal byť vidno ten rozdiel medzi ženským a mužským oblečením, že by sme asi nemali nosiť unisex oblečenie, ale malo by byť vidieť, čo je ženské a čo je mužské oblečenie.
You have like a woman's cut t-shirt and a man's cut t-shirt.
Cut t-shirt.
Like when you have a t-shirt or a
Máme
shirt,
tričko.
there is often a man's cut
Čiže sú ženské strihy, sú mužské strihy.
and there's a woman's cut. And you would have a difference there.
Čiže tam vidno rozdiel.
But I want to add to this as well
Chcem k tomuto pridať,
that often women cuts today are so focused on the sexual parts of a woman
že dneska tie ženské strihy sú tak vlastne formované, aby boli sexuálne lákavé.
that sometimes for modesty reason I would even suggest if you buy a working shirt or something, just buy one of the men's section.
Že niekedy pre tú skromnosť alebo tú cudnosť je lepšie si obliecť ten strih, ktorý je mužský.
Because it's not as tight or
Pretože
low
to
cut
nie
or
je
something.
také úzke alebo nemá veľký výstrih a podobne.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
Does that answer your question?
Odpovedá? Partly.
Partially? Okay. What else can be said? Are there any questions so far?
Ešte máte otázky?
Because because I think we only have a few minutes left.
Myslím, že už máme len pár minút.
And it would be maybe a time for a question.
Potom môžete sa ešte popýtať, aj keď skončíme, alebo teraz, ako chcete.
Že ja by som sa chcel spýtať, že to vizuálne prejavenie sa vidíme len u žien. Čiže aj muži majú nejaké vizuálne...
Vizuálne prejavenie sa čoho myslíš?
No tej zmeny, že vlastne, že nastala tá zmena, že sme pochopili to, že sa, že to Ellen Whiteová písala v tej dobe a to sa týka len žien, len u nás sa to netýka.
A otázka je, že vlastne, že čo...
Či aj my muži máme niečo, neviem, ako by som to napýtal.
So this change actually that we understood now only touches women, like this visual change.
About the pants?
Yes. So what is the, like, how does it concern men, or how do men go through this change?
Okay, so the issue with pants
Takže táto vec ohľadne nohavíc
is also connected to the issue of equality.
sa spája vlastne s tou rovnosťou.
And I think the issue of pants address both parties, men and women.
A týka sa to aj mužov, aj žien.
Because women are wearing them.
Lebo ženy ich nosia.
Let's put it this way.
Dáme to takto.
Beforehand, the world, everyone thinks the man is the head.
Predtým, akože v kresťanstve je tento názor, že muž je hlava.
And the woman is made a little lower.
A žena je trošku nižšie.
But now we have the subject of equality.
A teraz máme vlastne tú tému rovnosti.
So which does this change?
Čo sa mení takto?
The woman is here.
Žena je tu.
Equal.
Rovná.
A woman, and this is the man.
She can still be in a skirt even if she's equal.
I put her purposely now in pants.
Náskal som dala do nohavíc.
Because this change happens.
Stala sa táto zmena.
The woman is not lower anymore, she's equal.
Žena už nie je považovaná za menej, ale je za rovnú.
And she can even wear also pants.
A tiež môže nosiť nohavice.
So you have two problems here.
Čiže tu sú dva problémy.
The first one is
Prvý je ten,
women
ženy
need to actually step up.
Musia vykročiť vyššie.
Test for women.
To je skúška pre ženu.
Test for men.
Skúška pre muža.
Letting their women step up.
Dovolia tej svojej žene, aby sa povznesla vyššie.
And often the second step is the bigger one.
Tá druhá skúška je častokrát väčšia.
That men allow their women to wear pants.
Aby muži dovolili žene nosiť nohavice.
That men allow their women to be equal with them.
Aby dovolili, že bude rovná.
Because beforehand,
predtým
it was a principle like this, more or less.
Ten princíp bol takto. Plus minus.
The man is leading.
Muž vedie.
So he has most say.
Čiže má väčšie slovo.
So I'll say he has 60% say.
Čiže v argumentoch a v tom, keď sa niečo dohaduje, má 60% slova.
She has 40%.
A žena má 40%.
But here now,
teraz
both have 50%.
majú každý 50%.
One cannot tell the other what to do or not.
Jeden druhému nemôže hovoriť, čo má alebo nemá robiť.
This is the difference.
Toto je ten rozdiel.
And I suggest this is the struggle.
A toto je ten boj.
Women since thousands of years
Tisíce rokov
are not used to be equal.
ženy nie sú zvyknuté mať rovnosť.
It's a hard step up.
Je to taký ťažký krok.
The men for thousands of years were the head.
Ale muži dlho boli tou hlavou.
They lose power, so to speak.
A oni v úvodzovkách strácajú moc.
Which is just equally hard.
A to je rovnako ťažké.
So this test is for both.
Tá skúška je pre obidvoch.
And it's both for both parties, it's hard.
Pre obidve strany je to ťažké.
Some do not really struggle with that.
Niektorí s tým nebojujú až
Some
tak.
cultures do not struggle so much
A
with it.
niektoré kultúry až tak nebojujú.
Other cultures,
Ale sú
they
kultúry,
struggle very much with that.
kde s tým majú obrovský problém.
For example, the African culture is really, really strong in this type here.
Africká kultúra je veľmi, veľmi silná v tomto patriarchálnom spôsobe.
So this is actually a huge test.
A pre nich je to veľká skúška.
The man cannot tell the woman what to do.
Muž nemôže povedať žene, čo má robiť.
But neither can the woman tell the man what to do.
Ale ani žena mužovi.
Both are equal.
Sú rovní.
Both can do what they want.
Môžu robiť, čo chcú.
Both are to work together as a team.
Oni spolu musia pracovať ako tým.
Does that make sense?
Dáva zmysel?
Yes.
Yeah.
Also, with the pants thing, I was thinking for men, it's attitude of mind, if they will accept and respect a woman in pants, like, I mean, spiritually.
Yeah. Yes, because it's always been depicted that when women wear pants, it's a symbol of them gaining power.
Vždy to bolo tak brané, že žena nosiaca nohavice je taký symbol toho, že žena získava moc.
And technically this is true.
A technicky toto je pravda.
Because you see they're gaining 10%.
Pretože vidíme, že získava 10%.
But they're not gaining more power than the men.
Ale není to viac moci, ako má muž.
They're not.
Není to tak.
Because they're equal.
Musia byť rovní.
One last thing I wanted to state was
Posledná vec, ktorú som chcela povedať,
which was addressed a little bit at the international camp
a
meeting.
to bolo trošku spomenuté na camp meetingu.
This year is very simple,
Toto je veľmi jednoduché,
but very powerful and changes so much.
ale veľmi mocné a mnoho vecí to mení.
If we understand that Ellen White is on the same level as Moses, Jeremiah and John,
Ak rozumieme, že Ellen Whiteová je na rovnakej úrovni ako Mojžiš, Jeremiáš, Jan,
she's an equal prophet,
je rovným prorokom,
and we understand that we need to consider time and circumstances of those prophets.
musíme zvážiť ich čas a okolnosti.
We have to do with Ellen White.
Musíme to spraviť aj s Ellen Whiteovou.
We have to do it before we bring it in our own time period.
Predtým, ako ju donesieme do našej vlastnej doby.
We just talked about the pants and the clothing.
Hovorili sme o tom oblečení.
So we need to do that with all her writings.
Musíme to spraviť so všetkými jej spismi.
So I suggest
Ja hovorím,
that when Ellen White talks about the Sunday law,
že keď Ellen Whiteová hovorí o nedeľnom zákone,
she talks about the Sunday law in her time period.
hovorí o nedeľnom zákone vo svojom čase.
Just when Daniel, for example, in here,
Keď Daniel napríklad,
or Jeremiah,
alebo Jeremiáš,
talk about the destruction of Jerusalem,
hovoria o zničení Jeruzalema,
we're not expecting a literal destruction of Jerusalem today.
my už dneska neočakávame doslovné zničenie Jeruzalema.
We say, how foolish are we? This is just a symbol.
A hovoríme, to by bolo bláznivé, však to je symbol.
But Ellen White, when she talks about a Sunday law,
Ale keď Ellen Whiteová hovorí o nedeľnom zákone,
which is the destruction of Jerusalem,
čo je zničenie Jeruzalema,
we're taking it literal.
my to berieme doslovne.
Why is that?
Prečo?
It's her time.
Je to jej čas,
It's her circumstances.
jej okolnosti.
And there it's about Sunday Sabbath.
A tedy sa to týkalo soboty a nedele.
In our time,
V našom čase
we'll see the same thing again.
uvidíme znova rovnakú vec.
We see how a church, an apostate church,
Uvidíme, ako odpadlá cirkev
will take over a government,
sa zmocní vlády,
but that doesn't mean that the issue again has to be Sabbath Sunday.
ale to neznamená, že ten hlavný problém toho bude sobota, nedela.
So when Ellen White talks about the Sunday law, it's only as a symbol in our time period.
Keď Ellen Whiteová hovorí o nedeľnom zákone, pre náš čas je to symbol.
I think I would close here now.
Tu by som to uzavrela.
Okay.
Pomodlíme sa.
Dear Father in heaven,
Drahý nebeský Otče,
we thank you that we may study your word.
ďakujeme Ti za to, že sme mohli študovať Tvoje slovo.
Lord, often it's our preconceived ideas
Vidíme často, že naše predpojaté názory
which make us not understand these things.
nám spôsobujú, že tým veciam nerozumieme.
Lord, your rules are quite simple.
Pane, Tvoje pravidlá sú jednoduché.
The lines are quite simple,
Línie sú jednoduché.
but they change so much in the application as what we are used to.
Ale v tej aplikácii sa menia, nie je to také, ako to, na čo sme zvyknutí.
Lord, help us that we ever are humble enough
Pane, prosím, pomôž, aby sme boli dostatočne pokorní
to take the position of a student,
a stavať sa do pozície žiaka,
to continue to learn from you,
aby sme sa mohli učiť od Teba ďalej.
and to put our preconceived ideas away
A oddať nabok naše predpojaté názory.
and accept what is present truth.
A prijať to, čo je prítomná pravda.
In Jesus' name we thank you for that.
V mene Ježiša Ti za to ďakujeme.
Amen.